Borg Warner 1386.
I see one. I see a muscle.
13860669004.
Did you read this?
Yeah.
That
Did you build that?
yeah.
Good job. You want to see if it rolls? Try it. Look at that. You're moving it too. See? You're a strong guy too. So here on the Supercharger Bracket, I have finished the tensioner holes on the tensioning bracket, and I also correctly spaced these idler pulleys out. Just almost as far off the face of this as the main pulley. The issue I'm running into now is interference with the belt. So this screw head would need to be adjusted. And look at that one. This is the Supercharger Bracket bolt. This comes with the Rotrex. These, I don't know. The other option is a panhead type screw and flush mount, which I can do, except in a few instances. Here and here, I'm really close, and there, I'm really close to the edge of the bracket, and chamfering might just bite too far into it. And in this case, I've already milled the back of this, if you recall, so I'm down to less than 1/4 inch thick of aluminum. If I mill into it, I run the risk of, decreasing its structural integrity. So by comparison to like a regular, the hex head's higher. But I think for that type of screw I have over there, it's a different kind of head, so I don't know if I'm going to save that much height. But that means that this idler pulley needs to be changed to a serpentine pulley, because I would have, remember, the interior, the inner surface of this belt will be grooved to match the serpentine, which means they'll be coming around here and will be exposed serpentine surface here. And I've swapped it with the serpentine pulley, and if I move the belt down there, now I can still get the tensioning effect. And now that it's serpentine, it means I can run the channel that way, and I can still use my tensioner as it's intended to be. And I don't have any belt interference with any nearby bolt. All the belts are routed away from the bolt heads. So I hope that accomplishes what I wanted to do. The other nice thing about this, really the intent of this idler pulley is just to do that, just to idle and essentially disrupt the span from here to there, so that you don't get any of these harmonics as the belt's vibrating and flapping in the wind. I'm going to finally start working on the clutch. I've been waiting to do this for a while. So there's some things I need to do. I need to clean up. I need to dust off the engine a little bit since I got some sawdust on it. This cart right here that I've got the transmission sitting on is actually an engine cart. I'm going to take this off, and I'm going to take the engine off the engine stand and put it here. I'm going to mount this bad boy. It's meant specifically for mounting a T56 to a small block Chevy. I think pre-1985 small block Chevy. Got some cool stickers. I'm going to mount this to the flywheel. This is a McLeod clutch, and I will give you the part numbers for all these things. There's a couple pieces I'm missing, and I'm also missing a clutch fork. And I'm also missing a guard shield for the bottom of the transmission and engine interface there. But we'll figure all that out. This is an LT1 transmission out of a late 90s Camaro. This was bolted up to an LT1 small block Chevy. The LT1 is not the same as a pre-1985 small block Chevy, but the pattern on the back is very similar, and in fact the pattern to an LS1 is the same. So if you're looking at a T56 transmission that was bolted up to an LS1, just on the surface it might not look any different than what's bolted up to an LT1. The reason why I got the LT1 was that it's closer to a small block Chevy than an LS1 is, if that makes any sense. So recap, not an LS1, LT1 transmission, T56 bolted to an LT1, and now I'm trying to bolt it to that. And so therefore I needed the right parts to do this. So here are the parts. This Fidanza flywheel has been advertised to be a piece that you need to bolt up a pre-1985 small block Chevy to an LT1 T56 transmission. The part number is 198661. Then I went to McLeod and I asked McLeod, well actually at first I went to Fidanza and I said, would you recommend a clutch? And they said, we don't know, ask McLeod. So then I went to McLeod and I said, hey, here's what I'm trying to do. It's a 283 small block Chevy out of a 1961 Impala. I've got a LT1 T56 transmission. I've been given this flywheel from Fidanza. They recommend I ask you, and they said, okay, use this one, the 75-216, after I answered some questions about the power rating. I told them I didn't expect this engine to ever make more than 500 horsepower, and they said, okay, here's a 550 horsepower rated clutch. You can see what they call this. This is the Super Street Pro kit for a Camaro LT1. So from McLeod's perspective, from this part's perspective, this should look no different than bolting it up to an LT1. What makes the difference is the flywheel. The flywheel's got the right thickness and configurations to mount up to the right starter and meet the dimensions of the bell housing in the rear of the engine block. I got this pilot bearing that I think is the right part number. It appears to fit. General Motors 873001 from Pioneer Performance Products. This is a bronze pilot bearing or pilot bushing, depending on what you want to call it. And this fits on the very end of the transmission spline shaft as it goes into the rear of the crank on the engine. So the first test is to see how well it fits here. And all this does is it keeps everything aligned so this isn't wobbling around inside the crank. And that seems to have a nice good fit. It's a good start. This appears to... Pick your favorite socket. It doesn't matter the size, but this just happens to be 11/16 because it's a little bit smaller than that bushing. And I'm going to lube up the bushing a little bit and then tap it in here. So Fidanza has supplied these bolts. You see they're very fine thread. And they come with a thread lock. I'm not going to put the thread lock on yet. I'm just going to put the flywheel on here and see how it fits. You can see the back of it. It's real nice. I'm just going to see how it fits. It probably needs to get cleaned up before I tighten anything down. We'll leave that sticker on there for now just to... By damn, that's gonna almost work. Yeah! Look at that beautiful thing. You can see in here how close it is to the bell housing. And this isn't perfectly aligned, but it's damn near ready to bolt up. So I'm going to need a scatter shield or whatever they call this here, down here. And the starter will go here. Starter will be mounted in this area. Gonna run against the teeth of the flywheel and get this baby running. I am pumped to see this. Sometimes you just need to show yourself what it can look like. I've been thinking about this for a long time. I've been buying parts for it for a long time, for months. Just trying to figure out how this is all going to bolt together. And now I've finally got it kind of mocked up, just everything finger tight and placed next to each other just to see how it looks. And now it starts to feel real. Now I can understand, okay, this is how it's going to work. Now I understand how it's going to work. I think this is really good motivation when you get stuck in a project. Just try to visualize it. Just put it together. Show yourself. It's great. This comes from American Powertrain. This is what they call their Hydra Max Clutch Kit. This includes my master cylinder with its reservoir that I can mount on this car, and a filler cap and some hoses. So I can mount this T56 and this engine in that car. Woo! Sprayed some clutch cleaner on here, brake disc cleaner, and it stripped off all that green paint, which I think is supposed to happen, but just a little unexpected. This is this flywheel side. So I got the alignment tool here. This is supposed to keep it all lined up. So you want to use the Loctite that is blue because it says removable. The other one says permanent. The red stuff is permanent. You don't want to use that. You want to use the blue. That guy. What do we got here? This is a supposedly, this is a clutch assembly that I can use in the Impala with some linkage. Nice. These look really nice. I mean, they look like they've been sandblasted and then painted again. You can see it. It's a little like ridge here. And that's where the clutch fork is. I'm gonna have to think that through. This guy goes like that. Let's go something like that. I wonder if I'm gonna have to get a new retainer clip there. So this collar here, the bearing will just slide on. Engaged, disengaged, engaged, disengaged, engaged, disengaged. Where are we now? I think, okay, flywheel's on, pilot bearings in, clutch is on. I've just about got the clutch fork figured out, and theoretically, I think the transmission could bolt to the engine at that point. Then I need to sort out the hydraulic mechanism, which converts that clutch fork from a manual to a hydraulic clutch. That hydraulic booster needs to be mounted on the firewall of the Impala. I'm going to take the existing vacuum-based brake booster off the wall of the Impala, and I'm going to put Hydra Boost on. And the best part is that brake booster will probably go onto the truck, onto the muscle truck. So it won't be wasted. And I still have to buy that Hydra Boost. And then I'm going to buy a limited slip for the Impala and install that. And the last piece is the EFI. Thanks for watching. If you have any comments, put them down in the comments section. Please subscribe. I've been trying to build this channel for a while. You know, as of right now, I have 81 or 82 subscribers, and I am thankful for each and every one of you. And I am flattered and appreciative that you watch the channel. I wouldn't mind making a little bit of money with this channel to pay for my hobby. And the only way to do that is to get more subscribership. YouTube keeps moving the bar on channel makers, such as myself, where, you know, first it was you needed 1,000 hours of viewership, and then you needed 10,000 hours, and now it's like you need. So every time I think I'm just about ready to start doing advertisements and revenue, it moves again, and I can't do it. I think really the only way for me to start having genuine viewership and subscribership and even a little bit of revenue is I need about 1,000 subscribers at least to start, such that every video I make gets at least 1,000 views or so. And I've found that the topics that get the most views on my channel are things that have to do with the car or the CNC machine. And that's great. Those are things I love to do. The woodworking stuff that I do, like, nobody seems to care. And maybe it's just because I don't spend the time making my videos look as cool as a lot of the other woodworkers out there, like that, which is fine. I'll still do a little bit of woodworking here and here on the channel, but it won't be the emphasis anymore, I don't think. So put your comments below, subscribe if you like it, and I'm looking forward to seeing you again. Thanks for watching.